Right. Hello everybody. Maestro BPM here. This is a lovely little second-hand Eventide Ultraharmonizer DSP4000B Plus that I purchased recently, second-hand from the States, and you'll see powered up, but the display is dim. Now these little LCD units are an all-in-one job. LCD screen with a backlight, and in this instance the backlight has failed. I think it's a pretty common fault for these displays to have their backlight fail, and as a result there is a company in the UK that actually manufactures replacement displays, and they seem to be able to be used in a pretty wide range of the ultra-harmonized products. From the 4000 series onwards up to what number I don't know. So I bought this thing for, I would say, about $1,600 Australian, delivered from the US. Pretty good deal. I'm just going to take the lid off here quickly. And then the replacement display only cost me a couple $100. I'll put a link in the chat for this video, just so that you can go and buy one yourself if you want. So altogether I got myself a pretty good deal, $2,000 Australian dollars for an ultra harmonizer. So replacing this thing has turned out to be pretty easy. I made a couple little fumbles along the way. So first of all, we just have to unscrew the top, as you've just seen a second ago. Super easy. Obviously use static protection. I didn't, but you should, just to make sure that you don't damage any of your electronics. First of all, you just got to remove 4 screws from the display itself. These are on a little hexagonal standoff. You'll see when I go to put on the new display, I actually stuff up a little bit, and I have unscrewed the standoffs a little bit, so the new display wasn't sitting flush. There's a little power cable that you can see just to the top left of the screen there, which connects to the old display. That's currently disconnected. You'll see me playing around with it in a second. And interestingly, the new one doesn't have that power cable. So you can see it there. So that's where it would have plugged in, but good on you, Ben. Well done. So I can just slot that out. Super easy. That's just slotted out. But that ribbon cable is just held in place by 2 big blobs of glue. And I've just cracking the glue there. And once I've cracked the glue, you can see that ribbon cable just comes out. They're just bare pins shoved into a socket right there on the main board. You can see the bare pins there. Oops, cropped that a little bit too much. Now that's the old display, and here comes the new one. Now when I bought this thing from the internet, the guy that I bought it from said that the display was a little dull. That should have rung alarm bells in my head. I was thinking I'd just turn up the brightness, but no. The whole backlight had failed, but no big deal to get a new one ordered. I had a little bit of a look around. This was the only thing that I could find. It was on eBay. Very, very simple. The eBay site also had a link to a video explaining how to replace it. It wasn't as comprehensive as I would have liked it to have been. Enough for me to be able to figure this out, but I thought I'd make a more in-depth video for you folks at home. You're welcome. So here I am just putting those screws back in. The new display is now safely in its spot. I'm going to speed the video up here just so you can see me mucking around trying to get that back on, including me stuffing up and getting the standoffs not quite right. But really ultimately very, very easy. This new display, the same screw hole setouts as you'd expect, so that just screws it back in very, very nicely and easily. So with the display having been broken, I haven't actually really had a chance to play around with the Ultraharmonizer yet. Just been too hard to use. That display was so dim. You'll remember from the start of the video there, even with the lights turned off, it wasn't working, and obviously with no backlight it's never going to be able to see it. But even under various lighting conditions, it was completely unreadable. I could see it just enough to be able to scooch through and have a look at all the parameters, but not really to be able to do much of anything with it. Anyway, so here I am just stuffing around, getting that board back out, and here we go. Fix up those standoffs, get them in nice and straight and flush, and then that board can go back in. Easy peasy. Well done, Ben. There you go. You can see the name of the manufacturer there, Lux Displays. Well done, guys. You found a niche market, but when you think about it, I think it was $250 for that replacement display. Not cheap, but when you consider how much I paid for the actual Ultraharmonizer, that's a pretty cheap deal all round. Now this is a little bit of a tricky one. The bare pins have to go into that socket, and you're not careful and don't line them up right, there's a chance you'll just bend and damage those pins. That's exactly the kind of thing that I'm amazing at stuffing up. Now, I was an electronics technician for the first couple of years of my working life, so I've got a little bit handy with this sort of thing, but that's a long time ago, 25 years ago. I still play around a little bit with fixing stuff, and one of the things I'm very bad at is being impatient with things like this. So I thought, Ben, take your time, unlike with the standoffs on the display, and just make sure you get those pins lined up, and then it just requires a nice firm even shove of that ribbon cable to get the pins into the socket, and Bob's your auntie's live-in lover. At this point I probably should have applied a little bit of glue, much like the original display had on that ribbon cable. You know, I guess over time there's a chance that that thing's just going to come loose. There is a chance, but I don't know, I'm a risk taker. Alright, just powering it up without the lid on. Don't do this at home, folks. And let's just check to see that that new display has worked. Oh, you beauty. Look at that. She lights up straight away. You can't ask for much more than that. What a great outcome. You can just see, I'll zoom in on it shortly, but you can just see that the Ultraharmonizer is going through its boot up process. It's funny, it's having a relatively old piece of equipment like this where you do actually see it go through a 5-second long boot up sequence. It's fascinating. You don't see much of that kind of thing anymore. Just playing around, looking at parameters, just seeing that I can actually scroll through different programs and select different programs. It can be done, and we'll switch that bad boy off and we'll screw the lead back on. Now that I'm satisfied that that display replacement has worked, now I'll put the lid on and avoid electrocution. Quite impressed by my own screwdriver screwing skills, I must say. That might just be me. Alrighty, second moment of truth. Powering her up again. Shouldn't be an issue. Let's just double check it though, shall we? Boom, there she is. She lights up. She lights up like Christmas. You can zoom in, watch that boot up sequence. Thank you very much. Testing modules, testing presets, initializing. Boom, there we go. Right, very happy with that. There we go. It's easy. You can do it yourself. Hopefully one day if the display dies on your Ultraharmonizer, you can replace it yourself. No problems. Thanks everyone.